Now, this story, the first ever Africa-focused Specialist Brand Leadership Academy has been launched. The Africa Brand Leadership Academy is aimed at sharpening the minds that build great African brands. I'm joined now by the founder, Brand Africa Chairman, Thebe Ikalafeng, to share the thinking behind this academy and what makes it unique. Thebe, good morning, my brother. Thank you very much for your time. Looking beautiful and colorful there as usual, unlike some of us in our gray suits and blue ties here in the studio. Let's talk about the academy itself. It's up and running now. You launched it last week, am I correct?
I did indeed, Dan. The academy was launched last week officially. And as you said properly, it is about building the capacity of the leadership that is entrusted with building great African brands, or certainly brands in Africa.
Yeah. Why did you feel it was necessary? Why do you think it was necessary at this time to establish such an academy?
Probably 2 or 3 reasons, and I will start with the one obvious one. In the last 10 years, we've been conducting the Brand Africa 100 Africa's Best Brands survey. We have established that only 20% of the brands that Africans admire in this continent are made in Africa. So it means that 80% of the brands that we as Africans put forward as outstanding are not from this continent. And in many ways, there could be implications, economic implications, meaning that 80% of our profits are externalized. So that's the one. That's the one part of it. The second part of it is the Africa Free Trade Continental. The Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is now being implemented, has got a simple goal, and this goal is to raise intra-Africa trade from 18% to 50% by 2030. So that's a lofty goal. So it means that what we want to make sure that the brands that will be going through the African borders are made in Africa, or certainly that African brands are advantageous, have an advantageous opportunity. And third, having been to every country in the continent, I have observed personally our consumption of brands, and I've looked at us as Africans, what we consume, the brands that we admire, and all those. So that has concerned me, and certainly concerned many of us, that there's an urgent need to remedy the situation, to try and reduce the disparity between made in Africa and not made in Africa, because we've been saying for a long time that it's Africa's time. If it's Africa's time, then African excellence and African creativity must be at the forefront.
So is the academy going to offer different specialized curriculum to enable you to play the role that you are just saying? Because that should distinguish you from other academies that might be dealing with marketing and branding on our continent.
Indeed. I will first start with the philosophical difference between us. To start with, we are wholly Africa-focused, and we are specialist brand leadership, but most importantly, broadly across the curriculum, the foundational curriculum at ABLA is going to be about understanding African culture and creativity. Because if you don't understand African cultures and creativity, if you don't understand your own DNA, where you come from, what makes you distinctive as an African consumer, or as an African creator, an African entrepreneur, you will not be able to infuse that. A lot of the times, many of the brands that come from the continent are trying to compete with Italian brands on being Italian, with French brands on being French, and English brands on being English. You'll never beat them at who they are. The best advantage we have is who we are as Africans. So that's the philosophical broadly. But in terms of the curriculum itself, we've got amazing programs. The one program we've got is the Brand Leadership for Entrepreneurs, and that's really aimed at helping entrepreneurs to understand and to be able to leverage and balance their personal brands, their product brands, and the corporate brands. We know for certain that Africans create a lot of great brands, great goods, but what we want to do is to transform those goods from just being good goods to becoming great brands. Second program, which we're very excited about, is the Brand Leadership for the Creative Economy. You look at Africa from a design, from a fashion, from music, from visual arts. We've got a lot of creative people in this continent. What we want to do is we'll empower them with the ability to transform their craft from just being good at what they do to being outstanding brands to be able to compete in the world as Africans. And then, of course, we've got the bigger flagship brand, which is the Africa Brand Leadership Executive Program, which is aimed at the top tier of executives in the continent to empower them with the ability to understand how are you going to lead brands into the future, which are going to transform this continent and inspire the world. Then we've got a plethora of many other short learning
Okay. Tebe, finally and very briefly, who should attend your academy, or who, in other words, who are you targeting, and how can they find you?
The academy is targeted at four primary groups. First, it's targeted at executives who are leading brands across the continent, African and non-African executives leading brands in the continent. Second, it's targeted at entrepreneurs, those people who are creating the ideas that become the great brands of the future. Remember, entrepreneurs are the bedrock of any economy, and certainly here in the continent, in Africa. Third, we are focused at the next generation of leaders in the continent, the next tier of leaders who are going to be the future brand leaders, the future executives on this continent. And finally, the corporates themselves, the institutions themselves, which are entrusted with building these great brands. For people to reach us, it's very simple. Go to abla.academy, www.abla.academy, and you can find us in all the social platforms.
Thank you very much, Tebe Kalafeng, and good luck. I'm sure we'll talk in the future soon to see how the academy is doing. That's the man I call Mr. Brand Africa himself, Tebe Kalafeng.